that this man has tried to do to him. We heard him even when they had the 100th anniversary team in their own stage, and they're gushing about what a privilege it is to coach Tom Brady and what a privilege it is. And all the while, Coach Belichick knows he's trying to get rid of Tom Brady. All the while, Tom Brady knows Coach Belichick is trying to get rid of him. After he tried to with Jimmy Garoppolo, and Tom Brady had to go upstairs and talk to Mr. Kraft, because Coach Belichick was going to move on from Tom Brady. So this notion that Tom Brady all of a sudden, and after this man has publicly criticized you from day one, Skip, after the first game, I don't know what happened, because he made all those throws in practice. Oh, I don't know what's going on. He never missed a read in practice. And all of a sudden, you got a great relationship when nobody has ever called you out like this publicly.
Nope.
Your head coach is calling you out like this, and you say you got a great relationship. No, we know that's not true, Skip. We know he does not have a great relationship. And he's probably, if like you said, Skip Bayless, put him on truth serum, and he's probably thinking to himself, I don't know the hell all this hoopla is about. What is this offensive guru and this quarterback whisperer?
Who is he?
Yeah, I'm like,
what's he ever done?
I've had position coaches that's never going to be a head coach that's better than what this guy is.
I agree.
That's what he's thinking.
That's what he's thinking.
So for Tom Brady to say this, I don't believe it.
Neither do I. I believe everything you just said. And yet, my takeaway from this is, if you step back, nothing speaks to Tom Brady's greatness more than this quote: I have a great relationship with Bruce Arians. He later said to Jim Gray, and he kind of lets his hair down for Jim a little bit.
Right.
He'll be a little more honest with him, but he says, that's never been my style. Well, it just hasn't.
Right.
He's not going to go at it publicly with his new head coach. And I loved what he said later in this interview. He said, I don't think I've ever thought, man, this is a problem about anything that's ever happened to him in pro football or college football, for that matter. I think you try to critically evaluate how you have performed, how, he says, how you think you can help the team better in a more detailed way, and then you've got to go put in the work. Okay, those are words to live by for every young player out there, because he can't erase Bruce Arians right now. He's not going to go in and demand that he's fired right now. You got to figure it out on the fly. And it's really up to you, because Bruce is not going to be on the field when they come back after their bye week against Minnesota.
Correct.
He's not going to be able to do anything. He's not going to be able to help you at all when it's time to play the football game. So you better figure out your ways to fight through it, to figure it out and get better. So he's saying, basically to me, I've got to win in spite of him. That was his mantra with Bill Belichick. He never loved it. He never loved getting criticized privately in front of the team by Bill Belichick. Of course not. Scathingly, because you wouldn't have loved it either.
Nobody. No, you don't.
No,
you don't like being criticized because
in fact, to me, that hurts even more than public criticism, because it's in front of the people that you respect the most.
Yes,
your brothers that you're living with.
Correct.
And he's calling you out and belittling you and trying to humble you and make you small in front of the team. Okay, he lived with that for 20 years. And he occasionally had to rise above it and win in spite of it.
Correct.
So to me, Brady is the ultimate win in spite of superstar. He is a coach's dream, because he's not going to fight back there. He'll fight back on the field.
Right.
He goes psycho Tom on the field. He will compete, but he will not compete with his head coach. And I agree with you that he did at one point, was it 2017? He had no choice, because it was about to be do or die for him in New England. And I don't know if he went upstairs or just went after practice over to Mr. Kraft's house.
Right.
But he went and knocked on that door and said, hey, I just want you to understand what's about to happen here. So it's going to be him or me.
Right.
And he had to do that, because it was either I'm going to be in New England or I'm not going to be here anymore.
So was the relationship, the great relationship, because Skip, remember they released that statement before the Jacksonville game. Oh, none of that. That's just, tabloid fodder and everything. We have a great relationship here, knowing all the while that wasn't the case. Somebody tries to get rid of you, Skip.
Yeah.
You're not going to have, you're not going to have no great relationship.
No. And to Jim Gray, I keep bringing this up, he did a conference out here in Santa Monica after they lost the Super Bowl to Philadelphia, 41-33. And he was asked if the he said, do the head coach and the owner show you the appropriate gratitude? And Tom said, I plead the fifth.
Right.
That was the closest he ever got to a public criticism of Bill Belichick, and just you could throw in Robert
Well, I
Kraft.
think Mr. Kraft had his back to the umpteenth degree, but I think at this last time, Mr. Kraft stood down and says, okay, Bill, it's going to be your call. But eventually still, once he found out that Tampa had offered him what they'd offered, the Patriots were willing to match that, Skip.
Yep.
They
okay.
were willing to match it, but Tom was like,
I agree.
good.
He had enough with this
good.
guy. And remember, he had to win in spite of a receiving core in New England that eroded by the year. It just got less and less until finally they were dead last in separation a year ago. And you know, the tight ends, you can't even remember who they were.
Right.
And some of them, the no names are still there, starting with Ryan Izzo. And yet the point was where I couldn't get you to give Brady any credit. He almost won in spite of that receiving core. He in that final game against Miami, the final home game, he drove his team against a Miami defense that was getting better because they had upset Philadelphia, remember, and had pulled off a couple of big wins late in the year.
Yep.
He drove his team, as he always does in the fourth quarter, for what looked like the game-winning touchdown. And then Belichick's defense, which the wheels were just coming off all the way for the last 8 games, they let Ryan Fitzpatrick go 83 yards in 13 plays, including a last-second 5-yard touchdown pass to Gesicki that beat them at home and cost them the 2 seed. So he, in spite of the receiving core, in spite of his disintegrating relationship with Bill Belichick, he still got that team almost to the 2 seed. Well, I give him credit for that. You give him none.
But Skip, also, no, I mean, it's difficult. We see that some of the issues that Cam is having up there. I mean, you do need weapons, and Brady says basically, I'm getting out of here. I'm going not only where there's nicer weather, but there's nicer receivers also, Skip. But I think the thing is, Skip, is that we have a perception of what we see. It's like anything. I'm over here and I'm looking at guys like, man, that guy can really play. Man, that guy can really do that. And then you get said player. You're like, well, hold on. I saw you make that throw all the time over there. I saw you do this all the time over here. Why you can't do this right now? And basically Bruce Arian is saying that. He said, well, I mean, he never missed those throws. I've never seen Tom Brady miss a throw. I've never seen Tom Brady miss a read. And guys are open. When you last time you heard a head coach say, well, guys are open, we're just missing them?
Never, ever, ever.
Especially a guy like that. I mean, that is not something, you say that about, some of these lesser tier quarterbacks. Okay, I get that. But you're talking about the creme de la creme of quarterbacks, and you're so outwardly and openly critical of his play.
And it smacks of, don't look at me, don't blame me. So I agree with you. I believe Tom Brady agrees with every point you just made, but he is not going to voice this publicly because it doesn't do you any good.
No.
He would blow it up here late in the season, and he's just saying, I'm going to put my head down and try to figure this out.
All I know is Bruce Arians, if Bruce Arians is not there next year, somebody's a coach killer. That's all I'm saying. If Bruce Arians needs to be on that job.
Well, Tom Brady's about to go try to save Bruce Arians' job.
You don't need to save it. He need to save his own job.
Yeah.
Well, how about play better? Like you said, the details, what can I do better?
Okay.
You can play better.
Okay.
You cannot turn the football over.
Everything you just said, he said.
Okay.
I got to play a lot better.
A lot better.
Okay. That's the GOAT talking.
Well, I mean, no matter how much better you play, you can't catch it with old goat, little tiny goat, my homeboy. That's over. That ship sailed. You'll never be better than him again.
Who was lucky to win 1 Super Bowl.
Skip, that's in year 3. He about to follow that thing up.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of repeating, will repeating as champs be as simple as LeBron makes it seem? He acts like it's just,